What's going on, everybody? It is March 7th, 2024, daily log episode over NQ in the live stream review today. If you guys were in attendance, you guys were able to observe tape reading and what that looks like. I had a question over it when I ended the live stream, what tape reading is. And I know I may not have described it, but in reality, it's what I did today. It's you're marking up price and you're finding a draw on liquidity. You're reading price in real time. So any inefficiencies that you see could be valid with your bias that you're looking at. You mark it up and you just see how price reacts to it. And you're not putting emphasis on being right or wrong. That's the whole emphasis of tape reading, is you're not determining being right or wrong. All you're doing is observing price. You're neutral about it. You're observing it. You're seeing how price reacts. You're just seeing the mechanics of it. It's like looking at a car engine. You're not seeing if it works. Obviously, you're seeing if it works or not, but you're just looking at the mechanics behind it all. That's really all it is. It's like back testing, but obviously in real time, you're just looking at certain factors and seeing how it works. So if you're wondering that, I mean, you can also put, if you want, if you're newer and you're starting to get a little bit more into it, you can put hypothetical positions on, like I did today, and we did a hypothetical position, how that'd play out. But there's no emotions behind it. There's no connection to that. It's not, oh, I should have been in that trade. I should have took it. No, it's just, oh, that's how price plays out. Cool. That's it. There's no more to it. And then just put it away in your journal. I can't say anything else to it because that's it. So hopefully you guys were able to observe that today. I'm sure some people took the hypothetical position. It is what it is. I mean, but I advised everybody not to. And that's part of the rules and the discipline and the things that we've been given by ICT, is not to trade the day before NFP. So regardless if a trade idea works out and I coulda, woulda, shoulda been inside of it, even though I hypothetically put the position on, it's part of the rule set. I don't care. And we've already done the work this week on a Wednesday. And if you're not patient enough, you're not content with that, then obviously I'm not the right mentor for you. I'm not the right person you should be learning from. So as far as the weekly time frame, what we've been getting, what was the price action today? If you go back to the beginning of, even throughout the whole live stream, but specifically the first 15 minutes of the live stream, I annotated today's price action beautifully. It's exactly what you need to be doing in tape reading. And in general, when you come into a session, look at every single 15, 20-minute session of the live streams and what I do. I'm highlighting the higher time frames. I'm walking everybody down from the higher time frame. You need to be inside of the live stream in the very beginning. You can't just show up late. You're not showing up late to a job. If you take this serious, you think I'm a good mentor, you think I'm good for you and you're learning, show up on time, take notes, be serious about it. Because sometimes you may miss certain things that could advance you to the next level, but you're being too lazy and you're not doing the work. So what I talk about almost every single day, because this is how I do it in real time, is I'm sitting down, I'm looking at the narrative and the higher time frames, and I'm looking at certain factors. Okay, well, what do we have on the agenda today? Is it the economic calendar? Is it what time of the week is it? Is it a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Is it a Friday? What's the higher time frame telling me? What's S&P telling me? What's dollar index telling me? I just listed 5 major factors that I'm looking at constantly. Those are all variables that I'm looking at. Each of them are going to change every day and they're going to be unique. So right now I'm giving you the sauce to what is narrative, what's bias, how do I get in sync with it? Write those 5 things down I just told you and start to practice them, start to see how I utilize it. So when I come into a session, I'm looking at the weekly time frame first. Monthly, not so much. It's right now it's not as much useful information. You can peep it every now and again and see how it looks like. But for the most part, I'm looking at the weekly time frame every week because that's where price is at. And today I'm looking at, okay, and especially yesterday with the trade, we discussed this yesterday, is, well, the low of the week, if you look at ICT's weekly profiles, is if you're in a bullish week, you should anticipate the low of the week to be set on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Yesterday, or on Tuesday prior to that, Tuesday was the low of the week inside of a higher time frame PD array. PD array in this instance is an order block. This down close candle, look at the mean threshold. So if I'm already anticipating, today I came into the session anticipating that the low of the week was already set. So what does that mean for us? Well, that means that I shouldn't be looking for any lower prices. I shouldn't be looking for deep retracements. I shouldn't be looking for opposite counter trades. I should stay on one side. If I don't know the low or the high of the week has been set yet, then I can kind of be a little bit more flexible and fluid. But if I know for a fact, and I'm very certain on the low of the week being set, that's it. I'm only looking for longs today. Go back to the live stream. That's all I said today. I'm only looking for longs. I called out each level individually, and they all panned out perfectly. Looking at the daily time frame, we drop down into this reclaimed inefficiency here, which is what? Residing inside of a discount. So knowing that weekly time frame dropped down into the weekly bullish order block, the daily time frame dropped back down into a reclaimed inefficiency here, into a discount, and price moved away from it. This is a Tuesday. This is a classic ICT template of the low of the week in a bullish setting to be set on a Tuesday. That's the reason why I was looking for longs yesterday, on Wednesday, and then today we were looking for higher prices. So if I'm bullish, you should be seeking everything above you. I highlighted this inefficiency here in price, just small balanced price range, just a small inefficiency. And I was highlighting the buy side liquidity above here, which we didn't reach into, but on a daily time frame, that's overall what price should be seeking. On the 4-hour time frame, take this away. There wasn't much in here coming into the session, so I think the 1 hour cleared everything up for me. Go back to live session. I'm not saying this in hindsight. I panned all of these levels out, and this is due to what we just discussed on the higher time frame. What would also, and I'm not mentioning this in passing right now, but what would also be in confluence with the overall higher time frame bias, the bullish bias on a higher time frame? Let's take a look at dollar index. So I'm just going to use this as confluence. What do you know? What did we discuss yesterday? Dollar index, I was likely looking for what? The relative equal lows resting here. Those were tagged. So go back to yesterday's daily log video, go back to yesterday's live stream video. I was looking for the relative equal lows on dollar to be tagged. What do we do today? We tagged them. What's the protocol? If dollar index is moving lower, what should we be anticipating for index futures? We should be anticipating higher prices because it's an inverse correlation. So you use this as confluence. If you don't look at this and you don't utilize it as a tool, it's an indicator to me. If you don't utilize it, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You're not looking at the information. Intermarket relationships, they all affect each other. So you need to be doing this. I'm giving you the recipe right now. If you're not understanding this, I mean, obviously it may go over your head if you're newer, but if you're either intermediate to advanced, I'm giving you the tools to understand what a high probability setup is. What, CJ, what's an A+ setup? These are the criterias and the things that you need to be looking at. You look at SMT, you see a bullish SMT between these, that's just an icing on the cake, cherry on top, most beautiful thing you could look for. You go down to lower time frames. All right, well, if I'm already in the mindset, well, today, I should be really anticipating higher prices. Low of the week's been set. Everything's pointing to higher prices. I should be looking for higher prices, and I should be looking for everything above me. So what I'm doing is on an hourly time frame is I'm looking at, first off, this premium PD right here, and I'm looking at the buy side liquidity, which is resting here. So the relative equal highs we got above it. And we also had the current new week opening gap resting here. So all of these are already drawing liquidity. I mentioned all of these on the live stream. Look at the 15-minute time frame. I mentioned these two inefficiencies here. So you refine the 1 hour into these inefficiencies there, and the buy side liquidity, which was eventually tagged beautifully. Like, if you don't believe there's an algorithm and you don't believe what I'm saying here is true, and I mean, get lost, man, because we all see it. At least I see it, and you're never going to convince me otherwise. So if I know this going into the session, going into the day, going into the silver bullet, what should I be anticipating? Well, either prior to the silver bullet or during the silver bullet, it can be a factor that there's going to be manipulation to the other side before the silver bullet or in the silver bullet. Not always, but it can happen. So what did we do before the silver bullet? There is manipulation to the downside. So everybody's trying to chase these shorts. I'm not trying to do that. Guess what this is lining up? This is lining up all before the silver bullet. That's why we talk about time. That's the reason why I'm so heavy on time, because time is the #1 factor inside of these concepts. Right at the 10 o'clock hour moving a silver bullet, the manipulation's already underfolded. And guess what? The entry prints, boom, delivered. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. If you're not understanding this video, if you're not understanding what I've just talked about here, you need to go back and you need to journal it and you need to watch it 100 times, because I'm giving you the exact recipe to what a high probability setup looks like. The only thing that would dictate away from this, reason why I didn't take this, is because of the rule set that is given to us by ICT. Well, CJ, why didn't we trade today? because that's the rule set's given to us. Discipline's a bitch sometimes, and I just have to sit out. It is what it is. But I'm giving you, if this was in a different time, a different day, I would have 100% have taken this on my live account. But I'm giving you the example. I'm giving you the framework, the ideas that create a high probability fair value or a model. So what is this? This is the 2022 model. 2022 model is, I could give it to my little cousin who's 5 years old and tell them, draw this out, and they could do it. But it's everything I just talked about, the higher time frames, dollar index, SMT divergence, time. These things are what places the model in a good high probability state, right? So 2022 model is you're taking out sell side liquidity or buy side, but in this instance, you're taking out sell side liquidity and you're displacing higher with a shift in market structure, printing a fair value gap. That's it. So if we go down to a 1 minute time frame, knowing all of this that we just discussed, you should just be looking inside of the silver bullet for sell side taken before this can happen prior to the silver bullet or after or in the silver bullet, but particularly you want it before. You have sell side being ran, you have a displacement higher, and this is what, dropping down into a discount. So even though it's a large drop, if you go out to a 5 minute, 15 minute time frame and you draw out the dealing range, it's dropping down into a discount. Price then forms a inefficiency here. There's no shift in market structure. Yes, there is. There's a change in state of delivery for number one. You're going above down close candles in here. B, you're getting above old SIBIs, which is a change in state delivery as well. So there's a inefficiency here. If you go out to your 5 minute time frame, there was also a parent fair value gap residing within the 1 minute. And this is exactly where I had my hypothetical trade idea. So even though I didn't take the trade, it still worked out because I was utilizing the logic we just discussed. So when you see people, you see ICT and you see everybody else go on a 1 minute time frame, and they show you this type of execution. And even myself, you see, oh, on a 1 minute time frame, you see the fair value gap and it forms and it goes to the buy side. That's just a small little piece of the puzzle that is not discussed. Everything else I just discussed, if I didn't discuss any of that and I just showed you this, I just showed you the 1 minute time frame, I showed you sell side being taken, shift higher, fair value gap, you should be targeting buy side. That's just a small little portion of the trade idea. That's just a little ounce of it. So this is why I emphasize higher time frames. I emphasize intermarket relationships. I emphasize SMT divergence, because all of these give you good confluences: time of week, economic calendar, time of day, time of session. Like the list goes on. Like, if somebody told me this video, like if I was a student coming, I'm really not trying to brag, but if I found this video and somebody was talking like this, I would be astonished. I'd be like, this is everything I've been looking for. Because there's nothing else beyond this. There's nothing, the only thing beyond this is just solving the own equation to yourself, which is the hardest part. But technically, I'm giving you everything that you would possibly need to be inside of a good trade idea. And obviously, the other hard part is figuring out the days when it's low probability and you shouldn't be trading inside of, which I've also given you the recipes to not trade inside of those. I've done a full-on mentorship this last, I mean, I've been doing daily logs for over 2 years now, but this last 2 months, I've given basically a full-on mentorship for free. Like, if you've been listening, you've been taking notes, I mean, you should absolutely know what you're doing by now. I'm sorry, I'm one today, but it's just the truth, because if you can't see this, I really have to emphasize it for people. Like, otherwise they're just going to take this for granted and they're just going to let it bypass them. But the things I'm talking about right now is that many people don't even talk about it because they don't know what the hell they're doing anyways. But in here, as soon as we get above the buy side, we drop down into, this is a mitigation block. It's not a breaker. A breaker, in this instance, would have had to get beneath this low in here. This is just a simple mitigation block, which is an up close candle inside of a series of higher highs and higher lows. So price dips down into that. Again, we utilize the bullish order block here, mean threshold. Price lifts off, trades up into the 15-minute inefficiency here. I'm sure if you go out to a 5 minute time frame, there's some type of retracement. We discussed this bullish breaker in here. So this is a breaker in here. You have a low, high, lower low, then you have a higher high. So as soon as we get above here, this is your bullish breaker, not a mitigation block. There is a difference. So you can see on that 1 minute time frame, price drop down into this entirety is the breaker, not just the body, the entirety, including the wick. I don't enter off of breakers unless I have a fair value gap inside of it. It's just my rule set. But price dips down into it, expands higher into 15-minute inefficiency, traces, and then we eventually lift off into the new week opening gap up here, and then the buy side liquidity, which are the relative equal highs resting here, which I all annotated. I'm not trying to brag. It's just I have to make it clear. If you didn't watch the live stream, all of this is annotated. It's nothing's hindsight. This is me just forecasting price. Also took a hypothetical trade today. So for all the haters, I mean, another one. So yeah, I mean, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys learned something. I hope this was insightful. I truly do wish that you see what I'm saying here is useful, because it is. And I'm trying to showcase that all to all of you. Tomorrow, I do have a giveaway with my funded futures. We are giving away a 50K, 100K, 150K starter account, and then 150K expert account. So in order to be eligible for that, you have to be following me on Twitter. You have to be following me on YouTube, and you have to be registered with my funded futures. So you just have to create, you don't have to sign up for an account. You just have to be registered on their platform. That way, when I ask for your email, it can be sent to your email, and they can just plug in the account to your email and into the interface. So hope to see you guys there. It'll be 15 minutes before the open tomorrow. Until then, good luck and good trading, everybody. Be safe.